What are the 3 things everyone should know about their sacred wealth code?
What are the 3 things that everyone should know about their sacred wealth code? Number 1 is that you have one. Everyone has one. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that your sacred wealth code is unique to you, and no one has the same sacred wealth code. And it is something that you can have, and it can lay dormant unless you decide to use it. Either just naturally you use it. You'll see children naturally use their wealth code. They're naturally in their highest value gifts and talents. They're exploring the world and finding out what they're good at, where they're, what lights them up. So you have one, but you actually have to get in and drive it and actually use it. And the third thing is when you actually do use your sacred wealth code, when you understand what it is for you personally, and in my system and in my book, I have described it in the language of archetypes because it's a soul language. And in that, we can pack a lot of information that I don't have to just give to your brain. You can actually, it's information that comes to you on a lot of levels, and it's your own interpretation. So for instance, if I say to you the archetype of the teacher or the leader or of an advocate, these are archetypes that are unique in their descriptions to my sacred wealth code system, because they will speak from the language of purpose and prosperity and help you to understand your gifts. But just me saying, like a leader, like each and every one of you has your own definition of what that is. Without me having to describe all of it. We all know what we're talking about, but you understand in your own terminology, in your own interpretation. And that's really, really important, because a leader is unique in the ways it is to you. So again, you have one, you have to learn how to drive it. And it's inherent within you, and it just takes a self-discovery process to find out what it is. And what it is only one of the steps, but then you have to know what it holds for you. And I say it holds your superpowers. It helps you to understand, like, even as a leader, what are your unique gifts? Is it problem solving? Is it being able to teach people to lead themselves? Is it your visionary, your big vision that you could hold for people? What is your unique talents? And so then you can insert yourself into those talents and use those gifts and talents in what you're doing.
Okay, great. And I just had a thought as you were talking and sharing that information. You shared children, they're out exploring, they're finding themselves, they're finding what they're good at. So as parents, and I'm pointing the finger right at me, yeah. As parents, can we or do we squash our children's wealth code because we say, no, you don't do that, and you should become a doctor and not the fireman, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, in fact, I always say, you should just start donating into your child's counseling fund when you start having them, because they're going to need some help to get over you. I have 2 kids, and I also have 2 stepchildren, and all of them are in their 20s now, and so I get this. Okay. Yes, if you really let them gravitate towards the things they want to explore, like for instance, both my daughter and my son are both very artistic, and I always gave them good supplies to paint with and draw with and clay and all those sorts of things. I let them have lots of time outdoors. I noticed that when I look back, they really gravitated towards where their skills are. My son's a mechanical engineer and an inventor type. In fact, he's starting a bike company right now, and he also has a mechanical engineering job for a company. My daughter's a total art head, but she's works at one of the top 5 salons in Seattle and has done incredibly well for herself at 25 years old. She figured out it's art on the human body. She wanted to create, and she's not done. She's also teaching in that salon. Now she's looking at what's the next level for herself. I made plenty of mistakes, but the thing that is really useful is when you see them go for something, like just give them what they need to develop themselves within that, whether they stay with it or not. And if you have that intuition and that hit, like, oh, I can see you actually have a talent for that. And maybe they've got some fear around it. It could be a soul choice, or who knows why they have that fear. Then just don't pressure them, but see how you can make it safe enough to actually explore that talent within themselves.
That's awesome. Yeah, my second son, he used to light matches in the house all the time, and I didn't think that was very safe. So I said, no, no more of that. As when he became an adult, he told me that after that, he climbed out onto the roof of the house. But obviously, a fire is, what he loves, and so we asked him, said, well, why don't you become a firefighter, or fight the forest fires? And he just looked and said, I start fires, I don't put them out. So he knows what that is. He just is not sure how to fulfill that yet.
Well, and that can be interpreted a lot of different ways. For instance, like if we made sure that we are doing campfires with him and things like an appropriate place for a fire. Maybe he lights the candle every night, or whatever it might be. So he's got an appropriate place to help, start the fire. But, that interpretation, maybe he's going to be, maybe to help ignite that fire, like that passion within other people. That's fire's very representational of igniting that flame, igniting that passion. So, I mean, that's just one interpretation. We'd have to go into some deeper questioning, but
Right.
it's worth exploring.